Now do you recognise it? Step together, step. This way, go. Step together, step. Sow the seed. And rain. Watch it grow. And reap. And stretch, stretch. And flick it, flick it, flick it.
Kari, tell me a little bit about yourself. Where are you from and what's your musical background?
So I'm from Nottingham in the UK, which is like right in the middle of the UK. My background, I was a video editor for about 10 years, a long time ago. And then I was a primary school teacher. But I've always been interested in music. Back in my day, when we were at school, we had music lessons on the stage. They were paid for. So I had a school clarinet and 15 minutes between 3 students for free. So we never paid for any of our instrument lessons. I did piano and clarinet, and that went right through to A-level college and right into university, where I did performance art, majored in music.
And where did you go to school?
I was at Middlesex University for my education, my university education. I also then went back later and did a psychology degree at the Open University, which was all distance learning. I've yet to work out which one's more use, the music or the psychology one, because I think they're equally as useful for what I do now.
I was going to say it's kind of a combined effort between the two, as far as how you're handling the choirs that you're running now.
Yes.
So speaking of your choir, how did you decide that you wanted to form a choir?
I ran the school choirs where I was a primary school teacher, so that was great. And then I decided, I wonder if I could make a community choir for the parents. So I set one up in the school that I was in, and quickly realised that it wasn't just the parents coming, it was all sorts of people coming from all sorts of places. And I ran that for about 2.5 years. We had a big plan, a family plan to move. We were in Kent, which is the south of England, and we had this plan to move to Nottingham. And the plan was that I would stop being a primary school teacher then and just run community choirs for my job. So it was like a test run, which I did. So we moved here. I got the children settled to school, to nursery. My husband got a job. I got everything ready. I did my research, worked out what nights other people had their choirs on, and then launched 3 years ago. We launched this choir and we had 128 people on the opening night.
Wow, that is amazing. Yeah. And how many choirs do you run now? What was that choir? Which one of your choirs was that?
That's the West Bridgeford Liberty Singers. So everything's got the Liberty Singer brand attached to it. So they're now called the online Liberty Singers because we're clearly online. Mm-hmm. I've also got the Liberty Bells, which is a sort of spin-off from that choir for invitation only. And that's got about 20 to 30 ladies in. They're all ladies. The West Bridgeford choir has got some men in it. Not enough, never enough, but some. And then from last year, I did a project last year with intensive care workers in England. And we now have the ICU Liberty Singers, which is countrywide, just for the staff, the NHS staff who work in critical care.
And so looking into the future with that choir, where do you see that going even after the pandemic? Will you keep that up, or is that something that's going to be just focused for this?
No, I think they're going to need to keep that up. What they're getting from it is quite amazing. The well-being, the sense of togetherness, the community that they're all kind of in already, but it just brings it together. And obviously they're all over the country, so it's going to have to stay virtual, but there's already talk of a conference, and if the conference goes ahead, there is discussion that we might sing at this conference, and it's creating a load of excitement. I'm quite excited because I don't get to meet them either.
You look excited. I would be excited. That's wonderful. And I think, for medical personnel, the things that they're dealing with right now are just unfathomable for most of us. And to have somewhere like music where they can come and kind of put their emotion into what they're doing, I think that's really going to be impactful for them. So Thank you for
I
doing
mean,
that.
they report back that it's the positive effects of it. They don't just last for the session or even that evening. It goes way, way on into days later. And then they go to work and they take their lyrics into work, and they might do a little practice in one of their breaks, or they're singing in the car park, or they're able to chat to each other. Or I put them in breakout rooms together, and they've only ever met on Twitter. And now they're in a breakout room, and they've got a real common goal to talk about that is partly about the singing, but mostly about their role at the moment and the awful predicament that they find themselves in.
Right.
But they have a very chatty WhatsApp group as well, this lot.
That's so funny. So with your regular choir, so they were meeting in person. You said you've been together about 3 years. So have you seen engagement drop since the pandemic started?
Yeah, I think we had about 150 on roll. They never all came at once, apart from once. The tea break took a long time that night. So there was about 150 on roll, and it dips and flows, but it stays at around 100 at the moment. So it's quite a lot. But what's happened is some people have tried it online, really don't like it. I'll just wait until we're back face to face. But because we're not constrained by geography anymore, people have come in. So one of the ladies has invited her auntie, and her auntie lives 200 miles away. Oh. I've managed to pick up 4 singers from my previous choir, which is in the south of England. So they've come back. And we did have a lady from Dubai join us for a little while, oh, wow. which is great. So it's, and what I've agreed to do with that is I think there are enough people in there who will want it to carry on online, so that when we do go back face to face, I think I'm going to attempt the Zoom and Room thing, where I broadcast the rehearsal live into Zoom for those people who, I mean, there are going to be people that can't come for geographical reasons. There will be people who are still shielding. There will be people that aren't confident to come back yet. And I don't want to just leave those people out on their own. They've been part of our community, so that needs to be maintained.
Right. So, and we're trying to actually do that right now. A lot of us, we have kids that are in quarantine at their homes, and then in addition, we have kids here in school with us, where we're doing exactly what you're saying. We have Zoom going on while we are instructing a classroom, and I know the music is very hard for the technology with the lag time and things. Is there, you said you use Zoom, is there a setting in Zoom that you prefer over another that makes that easier?
No, it is very tricky. And the best you can hope for is that everybody plugs into the Ethernet cable and everyone's got amazing broadband, but it's just not really practical, is it?
No.
There is a delay. So when my singers and I sing together on Zoom, I can't hear them. They have to be on mute. It just, I can't do that. What we do is we have recordings of ourselves from a long time ago that we were singing along to. So it was the best chance we've got of sounding like we would have done when we were in our hall. We used those for a little while, but we were making the same mistakes. We weren't making any progress. We weren't learning any new songs. So we decided to go down the route of virtual recordings, which has been absolutely amazing. So I teach all their parts, and then I make a video for each part wearing the correct colour t-shirt, because my choir is organised by colour. So my red sopranos, there I am in my red t-shirt. I conduct on YouTube. They have to watch it on one device with one earpiece in and record into a phone or a separate device, so that I get this naked track of just their voice, which they then email into me. I stick it into Ableton Live and mix it all together. And then, within a week, I can play it back to them and go, listen, this is you all singing together. And it's quite emotional. They've gone down very, very well. I think we've done about 12 since last April. And it's been really, really good. So we're now getting on to doing some tricky stuff, 6-part harmony and the like. But what has been very good for them as well. So I'm teaching my yellow part, which is my alto, and then I go to teach the red. So you can either, if it's not your part, you can go and make a cup of tea if you want, or you can learn the red part. Some people send all the parts in. Oh, I've had a go at everything. Oh, I think I might be a blue after all. And so they're actually becoming quite brave, because in person, they're sat in a certain place, so they can't sing a different part. They've got to kind of stay with what they're doing. At home, they can sing what they like. And there's also that thing where, of course, if you get it wrong, nobody's going to know because you're on mute. So it's giving them a sense of bravery, I think.
That's something I hadn't even thought of, to be quite honest. And with middle schoolers, that would make a really big impact. I would think that they would be able to try something without being afraid of, popping up too high, or, missing the note completely, or missing the timing and being that one person that's singing too long. That's interesting though. So you make several different videos of yourself conducting per voice part. So the cues would be individualized then per voice part rather than a whole choir.
Yes, I sing along with it, but I all the audio parts have already gone out, so they've had them as MP3s. But I am conducting along to those exact parts.
Mm-hmm.
We did the first one. We did it all just by audio, and it was out. It was a bit like you would expect a choir to sing if they hadn't got a conductor.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, moving forward, and then I made these videos instead, and it does keep them in time. And it also, I will get a song, sometimes the energy will start to dip, and if you're live, you will be more animated. So I get more and more animated. You can imagine what these videos look like by the end, and literally hopping up and down, trying to keep their energy levels up. But then, of course, with that, I can balance it. So I've got my blue part, which is the tenors. I never have many tenors. And often I've got female tenors. So they can't sing particularly loudly because it's at the bottom of their range. But I can turn them up. In the same way, for once in my life, I can turn the sopranos down.
Wouldn't that be lovely to be able to do that in live? Oh my goodness.
And it is fascinating. So when you've got a choir face to face, and you've got all the little lumps and bumps and people getting tiny bits wrong, and it doesn't really matter because it kind of blends itself out.
Yeah.
It's the same on a virtual recording.
Right.
So I will start listening. In fact, I showed them this. I made a live video on Facebook and showed them, here's one voice. Okay, it's okay. Here comes another one. Yeah, that's okay. Here's another one. But this is what happened when I stack them up. And you can hear the quality getting better and better. And that tiny bit that was out, might have been out of tune there, doesn't matter anymore. And that tiny bit there. And it was quite a few people watched that video and then went, oh, I'll do recording next time then.
Yeah.
I've shied away from doing it. And again, it's that empowerment. You're giving people choices, because we haven't got the choice of singing together at the moment. You've got to give them something else to keep that community alive.
If they can't perform in concerts, what are you going to be doing as an alternative?
Yeah. We used to have a big gig quite regularly in our local bar, and it was called Portello Lounge. That's our main thing. We love it there. So what we did instead was we had Porthouse Lounge. So it was in my lounge. And I managed to get a recording of one of our previous gigs and literally conducted it along as if we were there, just for them to experience. So they're basically looking at me, which is what they would be doing at a gig. We wore our choir t-shirts. We had a jolly nice time. We got a drink from the bar at the break, and we just enjoyed it. So we're not really performing to anybody, more for ourselves. But recently we've got involved with a guy called Matt Finch, who's based in the UK. And he does this thing called Choir Show. So you make your videos, you send them all to Matt Finch, and he makes a program. So there's a Zoom green room for the choir directors, and the whole thing goes out onto YouTube. It's all for charity. Everything goes out onto YouTube, and it's different choirs. And, we've got kids choirs, you've got adult choirs, barbershop choirs, a cappella choirs, community choirs. Anybody can be a part of it. There's a little introduction from your choir director, and off you go. And it's a really nice thing to be involved with. So we did the Christmas one, and we're just working on a new video for the next one. We're not going down the whole Zoom choir video. We don't want a little squares or everything. We're going for comedy.
Nice. And that'll lift everyone, I think. So I think I actually watched that. I think you sent it to me. There were people wearing all sorts of Christmas hats and things in the one. And then there was a women's choir. I forget what the name of the choir was, but they were out in a field, and it was groups of 4 at a time singing, and it was snips of the video.
Right.
Like they clearly recorded the audio individually. They clearly mixed it, and then were just standing outside, maybe lip syncing to it or singing quietly, and then lowered the audio and mixed the video and the audio together. It was a lovely video. But I thought maybe that would be a good approach to the problems we're having now, because you could definitely take your kids outside in small groups and have them stand far apart and play the audio and have them lip sync back to their recordings also, and create a video that way. That would be a lot easier.
Or you can do, and what we're going to do with Torn by Natalie Imbruglia is we're going to act out the words. I'm wide awake and I can see the perfect sky is torn. Or you can use photographs. We've done a couple of videos. The ICU Liberty Singers. We released that single at breakneck speed. You're not supposed to be able to release a single in 4 weeks in this country, but we managed to find some people who said yes to lots of our requests. So the video to that is photographs of them all in their PPE equipment.
Oh, it's
that they sent to us, and it just moves. It's very, very, very simple, but it doesn't need to be any more complicated than that.
Right. And honestly, I think some of the still photos are very, I think they're emotional. You know, when you see a still photo of someone, especially like when you have it panning slowly with that powerful music in the background, you can see that person. You feel what they're feeling when you can just stop. Sometimes videos move too fast. You don't get to really take that in.
It's supposed to be about the video. We wanted it to be about the singing.
Right.
But it was essential that these were the people that were singing. This is what they look like. Right. These voices. I mean, there were 223 separate vocal parts on that recording.
Sorry, how many?
223.
And you, of course, mixed that all yourself, I'm sure.
I mixed it all myself. I had a friend record the whole backing track in his studio at home. It's the most COVID-safe recording going. I mixed it in here. They all recorded it at home. It was a major feat. It was fantastic.
I'll say, I think I did 42, and it was over 60 hours of editing between the audio and the video recordings, just trying to put it together. So I can only imagine.
That's one of the reasons I'm not doing lip sync on this Natalie Imbruglia video, because when it works, it's great. And if it's out, it's out. And it's very slightly out.
Yeah.
I edit my own videos. So what I do with my Zoom recordings now is when we're just singing along and it's all gallery view, I put all the audio recording out onto my website. But the bits where I'm teaching, I do it on speaker view and it's just me. So when we finish the Zoom recording, I then take that, pop it into Final Cut Pro, shift the audio by a second, because that's how far out of sync it is, so that I'm conducting in sync, put it onto YouTube as an unlisted video, copy the link to my singers, and then if they've missed that session or they want to catch up again or go over something again, they can go and do that. And it's particularly important for the ICU singers because they work shifts. Right. They only meet a fortnight, and I want it to be as accessible as possible. It takes a bit of time, but it's not hours and hours. And I put a title on it and I put a little fade on each side, but I'm not editing it. It's as it was. But I'm doing that now for the big choir as well.
Have you ever used, and this is just for my own thoughts, watching your choir the other day, when they are singing in Zoom, since we can record the session in Zoom, have you used any of those recordings to use as a video portion for the virtual choir?
I've done a little bit of it, but if you left it on for too long, everybody's out of sync.
Got it.
They're even out of sync with each other.
Yeah.
You can tolerate a little bit, and I've got 49 people on a screen.
Right.
So a little bit, because everybody said, but I've seen videos done with Zoom and it's all in sync. No, it's not all in sync, and it's probably not all on Zoom. It's done to look like it's on Zoom.
Right. I know that was one of my challenges when I was teaching myself how to make the virtual choir. I was YouTubing everything, how to create virtual choir, how to move the frame, how to add how to layer videos, and it was tricky, but it took me a really long time, but I felt like I got a good grasp of it. By the end of it, I felt like I was doing something that I knew how to do, which I didn't.
It's keeping doing it though. See, I used to do it for a job, but it was 15 years ago probably. And I can vaguely remember bits of it, but the software's moved on.
Right.
since but it's okay because I understand the basics of it.
So
It's,
as far as the goals for your choirs, you know, now, of course, without having live performances, what is the ultimate goal? Is the ultimate goal to create a beautiful video that you can put out online, or is it something a little bit deeper than that?
no, we're carrying on. We're kind of moving forward progression-wise by doing slightly harder songs. So this video we're doing with the online Liberty Singers now is the first one they've done. I've only done one video before with the Liberty Bells, my small choir. Before that, they were all photo videos. So this is our moving on. Now, if I'd gone straight in last April and gone, we're going to go online, we're going to go on Zoom, we're going to do a video, they'd have all gone, no. So I've had to, you know, do it gradually. And even now, I ran a poll today. So what are you going to do? Do you want to do the video? Do you want to do the audio? Or are you going to do both? And there's quite a lot of people that have said they don't want to do the video. And that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
So I will do the video with the ones that want to do it. And then I'll show it to the others. And some of them will go, I wish I'd done it now. Maybe the next one they'll do. I try and give them, I select all the material. I don't do requests. I did a whole blog about why I don't do requests only a few weeks ago. But I poll every week. What did you enjoy singing this week? Currently, it's With or Without You, which is an arrangement that I have actually not arranged that myself. I've actually taken that from somewhere else. Mm-hmm. And I think that will end up being a video. But I need to work out how, because it's quite a serious song.
Yeah. And
so we can't make a silly video from it.
Right.
On the other hand, I've got to appreciate that these are community choirs filming at home on a mobile phone. And I think we need that authenticity, because I never want us to pretend to be something that we're not. I think the spirit of a choir is very much being ourselves. We sang Forever Young last night, and the recorded version is I Want to Be. And I said, no, well, we're English, so it's I want to be. So I want you to channel your most poshness, and let's have that tea, please, ladies. I want to be. And sometimes that's really appropriate. And then if you're singing something like The Killers, it's probably not appropriate, and you want a bit more grit. So I like to be able to be flexible about how we sound, but at the same time making sure it's always authentically us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't get over how many smiles there were on the Zoom the other day. I was beaming when I had to leave. I mean, because I just felt so good, even just being there for the half an hour I was there and seeing people dance. I forget what you said. Let's have a sway. Did you say let's have a sway? And yes.
Off they go.
And I watched Sue in the upper right-hand corner of my screen, and she was grooving and
she was having a great time. There's a few there that have a really good time. What surprises me about Zoom, you think, I'm going to run a virtual choir and it's going to be on mute and it's going to be rubbish. You cannot credit the amount of energy you get out of these people. I've also done, at Christmas time, I did some corporate singing with people I don't know, who've never met me. And I'm going, come on, up in the air, down on the ground, and they're all doing it. And I think, wow, crikey, you lot need to get on more. But they'll do it. And there was one company I did it for, and they've got some people in an office, say social distance, with their dogs, and they've got 3 girls on reception. Well, the 3 girls on reception had a really good time. They were putting in the moves and doing everything, and everybody else was dotted around at home. But for all intents and purposes, for that half an hour, they were together. They felt like they were together. And the instant feedback, instantly, as soon as we finished, that was amazing, thank you very much. Can we do it again? Please, can we do this again one day? Can you come back? Yeah,
and what went through my mind as I was watching them, I thought, this could possibly be the highlight of these folks' evening. They're really looking forward to being a part of this ensemble that you've created that is completely virtual and online for the time being. But it also just keeps them connected with that family that you've created through this community choir.
I've still got a Facebook group called the West Bridgeford Liberty Singers. That's big. That's 400 people. That's free. This one is the membership one, so they're paying for that one. But we don't ignore this community group. So we'll pop back in there regularly. and to have a little plan. We had a third birthday party last week.
Oh, that's right.
And I invited a few people, a handful of people, to just talk about their experience on that first night and what they felt and who they sat next to and what cake they ate. And that is essential, that these people don't feel left out, because they are still a community. There's a couple of people in there particularly I can think of who regularly comment on all of it and yet don't sing in the online choir. But they're still our crew. They're still part of who we are, and they will still support us. And I think most of them can't wait till it's time to come back. And they will be back. But in the meantime, I didn't realise we were going to be online for this long. I'd have called ourselves something much more imaginative than the Online Liberty Singers if I'd known. We would still be here a year later.
Well, I think it's just lovely, and I really enjoyed being a part of that on Monday night. The experience it was so unique, and so it was breathtaking to see folks just singing together. I mean, the best way that they can.
Because technically they kind of are together, even though they're not. We say we're singing together even though we're apart.
Right.
That's how we talk about it.
Right.